The case of Jasmine Fiore and Ryan Jenkins was widely covered by the media due to the brutality of the crime and the profile of those involved, including Jenkins's involvement in reality TV shows. The story is tragic and complex, involving romance, jealousy, violence, and a desperate attempt to escape. Below, the case is presented in a detailed account, covering the main points from the initial context to the conclusion of the case. Jasmine Fiore was a model and event promoter known for her beauty and busy social lifestyle in Los Angeles, California, known for her appearances in publications such as Playboy magazine. On August 15, 2009, a call was made to the American emergency number 911 and the Buena Park Police Department arrived. The caller said that he worked at a condominium in the area and that the garbage collector had discovered a body in a suitcase that was in the trash can, which appeared to be the body of a child. The police arrived there around 7:30 in the morning. They opened the suitcase and discovered that it was not the body of a child, but rather of a young woman. She was naked and in the fetal position. The victim was described as a white woman, but perhaps Hispanic, and was around 30 years old at most. Her hair was dark blonde and very damp at the time she was found. She had probably been beaten, and her face was very swollen. The tips of her fingers and her teeth had also been removed, possibly to make it difficult to identify the body. The investigators even concluded that the killer did this so that the police would not be able to identify her. The investigators also demonstrated that it was correct to consider that she had not been dead for long because her body was not in a stage of decomposition. They knew that they would have some difficulty in identifying this young woman. They started by entering the victim's information into the official police system to see if anyone had filed a missing persons report in that area at that time. Unfortunately, there was nothing on file. The victim was taken for an autopsy. The coroner said that the cause of her death was manual strangulation on one of the parts of the body, and that the tips of the victim's fingers were removed after she was already dead. The coroner then discovered that the victim had breast implants and that they had been placed in specialized and certified clinics because these implants had an identification serial number. The police traced the serial number and discovered where they had been placed. Later, they identified that the owner of the implants was in fact Jasmine Fiore. Jasmine was born in the year 1981. Her parents divorced when she was only 8 years old, and she was raised by her mother named Lisa Lepori. She was born and raised in Bolido, California. In her teenage years, she enjoyed playing soccer and also worked at a grocery store in the neighborhood. Jasmine was described as being very cheerful, kind and fun. Her friends and people often liked her because of her appearance, but she was a very intelligent person among teenagers. Jasmine became a swimsuit model and often worked as a model with her body painted at parties for entertainment. She was also photographed at shows and casinos in Las Vegas. Jasmine even acted in commercials for adult telephone lines and also in commercials. Sometime later, she managed to obtain a real estate license, and with that she planned to open a gym and a personal training center. According to a friend of Jasmine's named Mark Montoya, the young woman had a long-term relationship with a man named Robert. Jasmine really wanted to settle down with him, but they always broke up, then got back together, broke up, and then got back together, often breaking up and getting back together all the time. According to an American magazine, another of Jasmine's suitors was Travis Ingrid, whom she met around 2005. They got engaged and stayed engaged for less than 6 months. Jasmine dated many men, but was often single. In March 2009, Jasmine met a man named Ryan Jenkins at a Las Vegas casino. Ryan was a real estate investor and was in town to participate in the filming of a reality show. 2 days later, on March 18, 2009, the two were married in a church in Las Vegas. Their marriage was very difficult, and perhaps had a lot to do with Ryan's jealousy or the fact that they didn't know each other very well before getting married. Jenkins had a history of violence against women, including an arrest record for assaulting an ex-girlfriend. Fiore confided to friends that she was unhappy and that Jenkins had obsessive and violent behaviors. The conflicts between them became frequent and intense, with reports of public arguments and episodes of physical and verbal violence. Ryan was arrested for domestic violence after assaulting the young woman and making her fall into a swimming pool. This incident occurred just 1 month after their marriage vows. His trial was scheduled for December of that same year, but it wasn't long before they reconciled and planned a trip to San Diego. On August 13, 2009, Jasmine and Ryan were last seen together at an event in San Diego, California. According to witnesses, the couple appeared to be arguing during the party, and the two left together, visibly tense. After this departure, Jasmine was not seen alive again, and Ryan returned to the hotel alone. On August 15, 2009, around 9 p.m., the park ranger police contacted the Los Angeles police, and the story Ryan told was that Jasmine abandoned him after they returned home from a poker tournament in San Diego. He said she left the house saying she was going to the beauty salon to get her nails done. Jasmine never came home. The investigators then contacted Ryan to invite him to come to the police station and talk to them. Ryan seemed somewhat disinterested, so the investigators said they went to where he was to talk. This time he justified himself by saying that he needed to go to Canada to talk to his lawyers and resolve a problem with his visa. He was very calm and tried to convince the investigators that it was nothing too serious because, according to him, Jasmine had run away other times and always ended up coming home. Ryan concluded by saying that he was not really worried and that the authorities did not need to worry either because Jasmine would soon return. On August 13th, 2 days before Jasmine's body was discovered, the loving couple arrived in the city of San Diego. They had booked their room at the luxurious hotel called L'Auberge Del Mar. The police immediately requested restricted access to the hotel's security cameras, which were everywhere. At exactly 3:28 p.m., Ryan and Jasmine arrived in her white Mercedes. Hotel staff are seen helping them with their luggage while Ryan and Jasmine looked for the front desk. After checking in, they are seen walking to the elevators and then heading to their room. Jasmine and Ryan do not appear on surveillance cameras again until 2 hours later. At 5:45 p.m., they are dressed up and it is clear that they are spending the night in the city. They were actually going to another hotel to participate in a poker tournament. The location they were headed to was about 10 minutes away from the hotel where they were staying. Police went to the other hotel to interview potential witnesses who had seen the two that night. Several staff members said they remembered the couple and that they had parked Jasmine's car at the hotel while they went inside. They returned around 2:30 a.m. and left in Jasmine's car to go back to their hotel. Even the investigators focused and zoomed in on the camera near the couple's room and waited until they saw Jasmine and Ryan returning, but unfortunately Ryan was the only one that all the cameras filmed returning to the hotel around 4:38 in the morning. Ryan is seen running down the hallway and disappearing into his room. He is seen again a few minutes later wearing sweatpants and a tank top. He is carrying an ice bucket and another item that he placed on top of a wardrobe. The police were interested in looking for this unknown item, and they wanted to search Ryan and Jasmine's hotel room. The police were still unaware that Jasmine had been killed. They checked the hotel room for fingerprints and blood. However, the room had been cleaned, and the cleaning ladies had found nothing. The police began to examine the room. They suspected that Ryan might have killed Jasmine and taken the suitcase through the back door. The hotel room was on the first floor, and there was only a small wall that separated the courtyard from the hotel parking lot. Investigators searched the outdoor patio more closely and found a blood stain and a long dark hair. The blood was sent for analysis and came back confirming suspicions that it belonged to Jasmine. The police now knew that Ryan had done something to Jamil, but they still didn't have much evidence to prove it, and they also didn't know where she was killed. Police are continuing to review the hotel's CCTV footage and have noticed that Ryan is seen again at 6 a.m. with his hands full of clothes and toiletries. Ryan is not seen again until 9:20 a.m., and after that too, the footage of him stops. Authorities also discovered that Jasmine and Ryan had the same suitcase. They checked into the hotel with this suitcase among others, but Ryan is not seen carrying this specific suitcase when he leaves the hotel. Police assumed he was either in Canada or at his apartment in Los Angeles. They went to Ryan's apartment and discovered it had been emptied. Police searched the underground parking garage, but Jasmine's white Mercedes and Ryan's black SUV were not parked, so they issued a federal alert with the license plates and vehicle identification numbers of both vehicles. Police said he left Los Angeles and went to Nevada to pick up his speedboat. On the afternoon of August 19th, Ryan called his father and was informed that Jasmine's body had been found and that the Washington County Sheriff's Department had received a report from witnesses who said they had seen Ryan's black BMW towing a boat toward the Canada-US border. Police later found his BMW and an empty boat trailer at a boating compound in Washington at the time. Ryan was only a person of interest in the investigation. He was not immediately charged, but Canadian authorities were alerted to keep an eye on him. The U.S. Coast Guard and Customs and Border Protection confirmed that they had boats patrolling the waters of northwest Washington, searching for Ryan since August 19th. On August 20th, Ryan Jenkins was charged with the murder of Jasmine Fiore, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. That same day, at around 6 p.m., he drove up to the Thunderbird Motel in British Columbia, Canada, with a young blonde woman. They parked next to a dumpster instead of the rooms. The hotel manager said it was rather odd that he stayed in the car while the young woman paid in cash for 3 nights' accommodation. The manager even wrote down one woman as very attractive, very calm, and chatting away while he finished filling out the application. The guest in the room next door told authorities that the woman stayed in the room for about 20 minutes and then left the hotel. It was later proven that the woman was Ryan's half-sister, named Anna Jack. At 11:30 a.m. on August 23rd, no one showed up to check out. The manager noticed that it was very quiet and there was almost no movement in the room where Ryan was staying. The manager and his nephew decided to check the room, and Ryan was found dead. Everything pointed to the fact that he had taken his own life. The police found a document saved on his computer titled Last Will and Testament. It was dated August 20th, 2009. The document said that he was sure that he would forever be portrayed as a monster, but that the real monster was Jasmine. He said that he gave everything to her, that he loved her, and that he never confessed to taking the young woman's life. Investigators made some discoveries that possibly answer this question. On August 26th, the police received a report about an abandoned car. When they arrived, they discovered that the car was a white Mercedes that belonged to Jasmine. When the police opened the car, they discovered that it was a crime scene. There was blood everywhere, on the door panels, on the carpet, on the door seals. There was blood everywhere, even on the back seat. The police began to believe that Ryan had placed the suitcase that contained Jasmine's body in that back seat of the vehicle. The police managed to break the phone secrecy of both of them and also examined their cell phones. They discovered that Jasmine had sent a message to her ex-boyfriend the night she died. In the message, she said that she had tried to give Ryan a chance, but he wasn't exactly what she needed, he didn't have what she wanted, and that she didn't want to be with him anymore. Jasmine's ex-boyfriend was a wealthy man who had a private jet. Jasmine also asked via message if he could pick her up on his jet. Police believe Ryan discovered the text messages when he and Jasmine got into her car to drive home, attacked her in the car, and may have taken her back to the hotel room through the back door. Police believe that when Ryan came out of the room with a bucket of ice and the phone, he had taken the phone so that Jasmine could not call anyone. She may have been badly injured but still conscious. He then strangled the young woman, put her body in the suitcase, and discarded her as if she were trash. The case has garnered widespread media coverage due to the shocking nature of the crime and Jenkins's appearance on popular reality television shows. The reality shows Megan Wants a Millionaire and I Love Money, which featured Jenkins, were pulled from the air due to the controversy and Jenkins's involvement in the crime. The case has raised questions about how contestants are screened for television, especially regarding their criminal and psychological histories. The tragedy has exposed the dangers of casting contestants with a history of violence leading to heightened concerns about safety on entertainment shows. Fiore's family was devastated by the young woman's brutal death, and her mother has become an activist against domestic violence on her daughter's behalf. Jasmine's friends have expressed outrage and sadness, remembering her as a happy, vibrant person whose life was tragically cut short. The brutality of the crime has sparked discussions about the importance of reporting abusive relationships and the challenges victims of abuse face when trying to leave toxic relationships. The case of Jasmine Fiore and Ryan Jenkins has become a focal point in discussions about domestic violence and the signs of abusive relationships. Experts have highlighted how Jenkins's tumultuous relationship and possessive behavior were indicative of a pattern of domestic violence. The story has been used to raise public awareness about the signs of a dangerous relationship and steps to seek help. In response to the case, television networks began adopting more rigorous processes for evaluating the backgrounds of candidates, including thorough criminal background checks. Restrictions and security measures have been tightened to prevent casting people with a history of violence. The entertainment industry has revised its casting practices, considering the social responsibility of putting public figures on television. The case has left a lasting impact and served as a wake-up call about the dangers of abuse and the tragic consequences of failing to recognize signs of abusive relationships. Jasmine Fiore is remembered by friends and family as a vivacious woman whose life was brutally cut short. Her mother continues to keep her daughter's memory alive, using her personal tragedy to advocate for change and support for victims of domestic violence. The case of Jasmine Fiore and Ryan Jenkins has highlighted the dark side of fame and the impact of unacknowledged abuse. Jasmine's story serves as a sobering reminder of the signs of abuse and the importance of supporting victims facing violent relationships.